So one of the things that Paul also says in verse 14 is about not neglecting the gift that was given to Timothy. And so just pause here for a little bit to talk about what that gift is. Not to neglect his spiritual gift. The Greek word that is used is charismatos. So you might recognize part of this word charis. Charis is where we get our word grace from. So this concept of grace or a gift that is given. So it is we might call it a spiritual gift. So in 1 Corinthians, Paul will talk about the charismata, the spiritual gifts that people are given. And so here some kind of spiritual gift has been given to Timothy. The context implies that if Timothy is faithful to the task that Paul is charging him with, then he is also faithful to the Spirit who has entrusted him with this gift. So again, as Timothy carries out his duties as a minister or as this apostolic representative in the context of Ephesians, he is not only being faithful to what Paul has charged him with, but also the Spirit has entrusted him with something. There are similarities and also differences between this passage and what we will see when we look at 2 Timothy 1:6, where there's also a gift that is given to Timothy with, with Paul involved. But here we have, in particular, this idea of when the body of elders laid their hands on Timothy, not when Paul laid his hands on Timothy. So, so in what way is the gift connected to the laying on of hands? Well, what might be helpful is if we look back at Acts 8 and maybe even Acts 6. In both of these cases, there's kind of a laying on of hands upon one group of people, people in authority upon others, especially in regards to carrying out a task. So in the Acts 6:6, we have people who are kind of charged with helping the apostles deliver bread to those who are Greek speaking Jewish widow Christians. And so they are, when hands are laid on them, that is this idea of charging them, commissioning them. And so this is a practice that was done, a symbol that was done in the ancient world. And so that's probably what Paul has in mind here, that the gift that is given to Timothy is the gift of ministering or the gift of carrying out this role. So the body of elders has also been involved in recognizing or affirming Timothy as someone who is Paul's apostolic representative, someone that they are recognizing is going to carry out kind of Paul's authority when Paul is away. Why is prophecy mentioned in connection with Timothy's reception of this gift? Well, like, once again, we might go back to the situation where um, Paul and Barnabas are kind of charged, according to the Spirit, to go on their first missionary journey. So, in other words, the Spirit somehow or another, it's never really explained, kind of communicates or reveals that Paul and Barnabas should be sent out. Now, why the Spirit just doesn't talk to or communicate to Paul and Barnabas by themselves is not ever explained, but it's done through the church, it's done through a group of people who announces that the Spirit says that these two should be set aside and should be sent out on their mission. And so the church kind of involved with what the Spirit is telling them. And so here too, the Spirit may be involved with announcing that Timothy is supposed to take on this responsibility as Paul's apostolic representative. So it's not just that Paul has chosen Timothy, the Spirit has communicated that Timothy is Paul's apostolic representative, and the body of elders there in Ephesus has also has recognized this position of Timothy. So in other words, all of this is reminding Timothy, hey, you have this task to complete, And this is not just a task that Paul has confidence in Timothy to carry out. It is also something that the Spirit has revealed is part of the divine plan. It has also been supported by his elders. And so Timothy ought to lead with that kind of confidence. So with that, then we'll end our kind of quick review of 1 Timothy 4. In the next section, we'll look at 1 Timothy chapter 5.